Hi guys, today is the 3rd of July 2021. It's 19 minutes past 19. 19 minutes past 19. It's 19 minutes past 7 in the evening over here in the UK. I put out two videos recently talking about July 5th, which is coming up in 2 days, and July 7th, and also July 11th. Now, I'm just going to be looking at some events that are going to be coming up very soon. In this video, um, one of the things that the George Bush character does after he's done all this is he points to Florida and also to the board. It kind of looks like he's pointing at the shark. His finger's a little bit bent, so we can't really say it's like directly on, like it is with Florida. But we kind of put those together in terms of Florida and the shark, and we interpret the shark as a submarine, possibly a cooler class, Russian, you know, naming the submarines after animals like sharks and whales and things like that, marine terminology. So just keeping that in mind, the next thing that happens with the George Bush character is his head spins around, and we associated that with a circular system like a hurricane or tornado, and his hands do a motion as well. And I look at that as like his head is representing the hurricane above, and his hands are representing the water below. So as the hurricane moves over, something happens to the waves to cause it to expand upwards and then push out. So kind of like an implosion or explosion or even an impact could cause that sort of movement with the water. But the general gist is that the water is pushed outwards from the center of whatever happens, and that moves towards land, or in this representation it kind of shows you the focus on the burning house, so some sort of inhabited area potentially. Obviously the house represents different things, like it looks like a nuclear missile, bird's eye view, it could be a boat on fire. We've looked at all these different interpretations, but right now we have Hurricane Elsa coming in through the Caribbean into the Gulf of Mexico, and then coming up towards Florida. And obviously, when I think of Elsa, the first thing that comes to my head, as will come to a lot of your heads, is Frozen. And when I think about that and I put those two together, the representation in this video, there's a lot of images of frozen things, snow, uh, monuments or images of structures covered in snow, ice structures throughout this entire video. Right here, as the George Bush character points to Florida and to the shark, there's also the icicle in the shot, which kind of gives you a reference to cold. And we've always been looking out for potential cold seasons, like going through autumn into winter, and obviously those are high watch seasons as well, or high watch times. But what if it's a reference to something that makes you think of something cold, like Hurricane Elsa, Elsa Frozen? It just seems to work together for me. And obviously with the other interpretation that I've done on my previous two videos, looking at the George Bush birthday, July 6th, and things happening around that time. That's why I've got, July 5th, the day before, July 7th, the day after, and July 11th, a week later, looking at all these things. And if I just let the video play a little bit again, as he goes through this motion, so the hurricane, imagine that's Elsa. There's plenty of hurricanes that, are born every year. So, it may not be this potential one. We've looked at many others. But at the same time, there's never been the next event, which is the underwater explosion pushing the waves outwards. Now, I don't think that's happened quite yet, but I'm looking at the news today and I see this happening in the Gulf of Mexico, which is the area where we've been looking at this underwater explosion to occur in a lot of our videos. And you've got this underwater gas leak, which fuels huge eye of fire in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, I think that that's going to be going for a couple of days. Obviously, they're not going to be able to, if it's a gas leak coming from a supply of gas that, you know, is quite large, then that's going to be going for a good while. And it's possible that it could still be going around July 7th, July 6th and July 7th. which is around the time that Hurricane Elsa, or Tropical Storm Elsa at this moment, will be coming into the Gulf of Mexico, approaching Florida around the Tampa Bay area. Um, I don't know what would happen if the hurricane interacts with this area of water, where obviously the water is going to be way more heated than the water surrounding it. So, since hurricanes are fueled by high temperatures um, coming from the water, it's possible that if it comes in as a tropical storm, or if it comes in as a low category hurricane, interacting with this event in the Gulf of Mexico could cause it to explode in size. Category 4, Category 5. That's just, the way that I'm thinking. Obviously, one body of water, hurricane, they mix together, they create a more powerful storm, a more powerful hurricane. And then you've obviously still got the reference to the hurricane being named Elsa and having that connection with the frozen element of the iPet Go 2 video. And not only that, obviously, we know that the iPet Go 2 video is a animation representation of the 9/11 event, at least the part where George Bush was in the school with the children reading My Pet Goat, and that's why they've called the video I Pet Goat. The school where that took place was Emma E. Booker Elementary School, and that's around the area where the hurricane is going to be coming in. So again, I don't know if that has major significance, but the fact that we've got this 9/11 representation, Florida representation, Emma E. Booker Primary School, a hurricane representation, an underwater explosion, all happening around George Bush's birthday, with the birthday hat on his head, kind of representing that time frame. It seems kind of convenient. The only element that is unknown at this moment is the shark element, the submarine element. Now, in our interpretations, we kind of look at the submarine element as moving underneath the hurricane, positioning itself. The wave motion could come from a storm surge, and that could be from the normal hurricane activity, especially if the hurricane explodes in size because of interaction with the gas leak in the Gulf of Mexico. Storm surge is possible, but then again, if the gas leak gets any worse and a bigger explosion was to occur, then that may result in a larger body of water being pushed upwards and then collapsing down in a circular motion, heading, basically out in the Gulf of Mexico, affecting the coastlines around there. Obviously, depending how close to the coast that happens, would depend on how severe the impact of the body of water would be. Obviously, this is just all interpretation. I don't know if any of this can happen, but I haven't made videos in a while. I'll make 2 videos recently, both kind of focusing on the same date area, July 5th, 6th, 7th, July 11th, and just looking out for an event with Donald Trump, like a brain aneurysm or getting shot or something like that. Obviously, in terms of brain aneurysm, there's potential for that, considering the charges that are coming down on the Trump administration, the potential for one of his children to flip. If I do connect that with the iPet Go 2 video in any way, I would say maybe Ivanka. If she flipped, then maybe that would cause Donald Trump to go so crazy that he would have some sort of aneurysm in his head. Putting that to the side, after the underwater explosion, so potential for that to have already occurred with this gas leak, or there could be something worse at the same time as the hurricane approaches the coast of Florida around the Tampa Bay area. There's also a reference to something going overhead, sort of coming from below and going overhead. The suggestion is there's an impact of some kind, and then it quickly switches to Obama, which obviously a lot of people connect his name when they say it to kind of like a bomb reference, and that may be what they're indicating here. As the George Bush character looks over, then it's Obama. Like, that may be the part of the video that connects with the shark, the submarine, a missile launch of some kind. Now, I don't know if that would occur at the same time as everything else that I've talked about in the video, but that's kind of the scenario laid out before us. There's never been an event like this in the Gulf of Mexico at the same time, weather at all, but at the same time as a hurricane with Elsa, frozen references coming in, approaching the same kind of area. I mean, I switched to the 7th, but the name disappears, so we can just kind of look at the storm area. So it approaches the Tampa Bay area, and Emma E. Booker Primary School is right around here. So everything seems to be lining up. A lot of things have lined up in the past, so I'm trying to remain calm about it all. But at the same time, I'm on high alert, to be very honest with you. I'm not going to be probably sleeping very well thinking about all of these things, but I'm going to keep my eyes out, keep my eyes open, watching out for these things just in case they occur, because obviously if they do, then there may be more things that I could potentially get ahead of in this video somehow, some way. I don't know, but you know, Heavenly Father is good, and you know, because He put us on this video so early, 2017, some of us even earlier than that, there's been ample time to go through all of the interpretations. Whether the dates were wrong or not is kind of immaterial at this point, but at least we've managed to kind of give ourselves an entire list of events to look out for, from hurricanes to underwater explosions to volcanoes erupting, to the stock market collapsing, war in the Middle East. The list just goes on and on and on and on. But we have that list at least, where a lot of people are not going to be able to kind of prepare themselves for what could potentially come. Just be surprised by one event after another, whereas the rest of us may be able to take a little bit of solace from the fact that at least we have an idea of what the potential scenarios are and can prepare ourselves, whether physically, spiritually, mentally, accordingly. So, you guys, I hope the information is useful to you guys. I hope I've covered everything I wanted to cover in this video. Just a very brief recap. Hurricane Elsa, frozen reference coming into the hurricane Gulf of Mexico. Currently there's a gas leak there that could get worse. There could be a big underwater explosion, storm surge or tsunami type event heading towards the coast. And then you've got the potential for a missile launch coming out of nowhere, potentially from a submarine which has positioned itself underneath a hurricane. Some of it sounds crazy, but you guys, crazy times. You have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and